Looking for consciousness in the brain is like looking for a radio in the announcer, is a famous quote, and how true this is. I am Mystic Mike, and this is my theory of the universe and the world of thought. Imagine you are truly isolated and discover a radio, and upon twiddling the knobs, you hear voices and music. What you do not know is pretty much everything you need to know. Radio waves, electromagnetism, distant cities, radio stations and modern civilizations. In fact, everything outside the radio box. You would not have the capacity to even imagine such things, and if you could, you would have no technology to demonstrate the existence of the waves, and everyone justifiably points out that the onus is on you to convince them. You could convince almost no one, and you yourself would probably reject the existence of such mysterious spirit-like waves. You would become a radio materialist. I am using this analogy that with our brains we receive consciousness from an ocean of consciousness that surrounds us and all living things, a place some of us refer to as the spirit world. The human brain may function as a super-evolved neurological radio or television, and in rare but revealing moments when the channel suddenly switches, an imperfect receiver of some transhuman signal that simply does not play by the rules as we know them. Our natural home is in this spiritual realm of consciousness. We are indeed spiritual beings, not the crude matter we are made from. We incarnate in this form to learn, to grow and to tackle and overcome specific challenges we have intentionally designed for ourselves when we were last home. How focused would we be on those challenges if we always kept one foot here and another firmly planted in the protection of paradise? We could retain an easily accessible awareness of our lives in the spirit world during our brief trips away on our lifetimes on earth. That perspective would make us happier, more hopeful and more peaceful while we are here. The mind can know things distant in space and time because it's not limited to space or time. Mind is not in the radio or brain box. The payoff here is immense. The impossible suddenly becomes possible. Indeed, it even becomes predictable. What we have been doing for the past few centuries is studying the constructions and workings of the physical radio. But the radio was built for the radio signal and vice versa. How can we understand one without the other? It is time to come to terms with both. There are plenty of theorized particles in the Large Hadron Collider hasn't discovered yet. The so-called supersymmetric particles to tiny dark matter particles candidate called axions. Scientists still don't know whether axions exist. How do you know? The spirit world aren't made from axions or some other candidate. The axion is a neutral but very light but not massless particle, and it does not interact, or it does very weakly, with conventional matter. In some way we can see an axion as like a strange photon. In fact, theory predicts that an axion, if it exists, could transform into a photon, a particle of light, and vice versa in the presence of electromagnetic fields. On the other hand, while our spirit connection to the spirit world is always alive, Essentially, throughout each incarnation we choose to undertake, we need to be consciously separate from the spirit world for the duration. Otherwise, we would probably either just sit here drumming our fingers, waiting anxiously to get back to the spirit world where we belong, or never even bother to come here in the first place. What have you ever learned when times are good? In the spirit world, they are not just good, they are idyllic. The spirit world, we can study every subject that exists, including negativity. But studying negativity without experiencing it and gaining strength and wisdom that results from overcoming it is like learning to drive a car by reading a book about it without ever getting behind the wheel.